Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I want to share with you guys 5 ways I experience emotional paralysis within context of me having ADHD and being autistic. These things can really kind of manifest differently when you have like neurodivergent conditions like ADHD, autism, and you know, the whole umbrella of different neurodivergent conditions. So you might be thinking, Molly, come on, tell me, what is it? I want to know what emotional paralysis is. Emotional paralysis is when someone feels so overwhelmed by their emotions that they struggle to respond or take action or process them. It can happen to anyone, but it's especially common in those with ADHD. So those of us with ADHD, some of us, not all of us, but some of us have, you know, a real hard time regulating our emotions. We feel them really intense, and they do take over, and we find them very overwhelming, and it's really hard to process them and just, you know, be able to, you know, move on from that one emotion or that, you know, group of emotions. It's really hard for us to be able to do that. So it can make it really challenging for us when we are in situations or we feel overwhelmed by our emotions. So I just want to share, you know, 5 ways that I personally feel like it shows up in my life, like my 5 struggles with it. Yeah, so let's just get on. So the first scenario that I find myself becoming emotionally paralysed in is if I'm asked to make a decision, especially if it's like not a kind of decision that I had time to like really make. Like if it's just sprung on me and it's like a there and then decision, I find it really difficult because I don't have time to like weigh out the pros and the cons. I'm just like and I get really stuck because it's like I find it really like it weighs heavy on me. It's not like an easy yes or a no. It's like, but if I say yes, then it might offend the people that don't want to do it, and like if I say no, then it might offend the person that wants to do it. And I find that incredibly difficult because like I don't know what the right like option is. Like I don't know whether it's I should say yes or if I should say no, or just say like I don't mind. That's usually my answer. I'm usually like, I don't know, you decide, I don't mind. I probably do have a preference of like if I want to do it or not, or like what my choice is, but I'd rather let someone else take that responsibility because I find it very overwhelming, very stressful. It's just anxiety, like it just makes me very anxious. So number 2 is another like scenario that I find my emotions becoming overwhelming and basically just paralyze me, is when I'm in a heated discussion. Like if I'm talking to someone and they have a different opinion to me, like I can become very overwhelmed with, again, my emotions, the other person's emotions. I'm like an emotional sponge and I feel everything, and you know, it could just turn into the wrong anger, and like because all the emotions become so overwhelming and they just collide into one, it's like it makes me so overwhelmed and frustrated and angry because I just don't know how to articulate myself without letting myself become overwhelmed by the emotion. Or you know, I'm worried that if I say something that's going to offend someone, then you know, I get upset about that, and I don't want to upset anybody. I just want to get my point across, but sometimes I struggle to articulate that point like effectively and appropriately because I can overtalk, interrupt. Sometimes I say things that are quite, I don't mean it to come across blunt or I mean it to come across like rudely, but I say it how I feel, and then I'm like, I didn't mean to say it like that, but I've already said it. And you know, there's no take backs in when you say things because you've already said it, that person's heard it, like you can't take that back. So I find situations like heated discussions, conflicts, not even like, they don't even have to be like heated discussions, it can just be a discussion where you're chatting about stuff and you might not agree with it, and that person might be like, well actually no, I don't agree with that, and you're like, oh my god. So number 3 is something I personally struggle with, I would say almost every day, and it is when I want to like start a new project, when I want to make content that I feel like is a great idea. You know, I'm hindered by like this emotional paralysis. I never feel good enough, so I always feel inadequate, and I have this overwhelming sense, like feeling that I'm not good enough, I can't achieve that, it's out of my reach, I'm not good enough to do that, you know. And I feel, you know, if you know what task paralysis is, it's like that kind of interlinks with this one. It's like it hinders my productivity, it hinders my motivation, it hinders my self-esteem because I want to do all these things, but I feel like all my emotions like turn against me and they become negative. And it's like, even like with friendships, new relationships, like I want to start and pursue all these new things, but I always feel like, well, what about if that person sees the bad in you, like that we know that there is, like, you know, what about if that person thinks that you're just as awful as you do? Like, all this negative self-talk becomes like so intense, it overtakes me, and then I'm like, oh no, I won't do it, because I get so paralysed by all those emotions. I can't seem to like push them away. They just overtake my life and hinder me doing things I really want to do. So yeah, that's just another kind of, you know, scenario, situation that I find myself becoming paralysed, stuck, and ultimately just like overtaken by my emotions. So just like the one before, this is number 4, and this is just another situation again that I just find myself becoming paralysed by emotion, and that is in social situations. So this has just ranged from a whole variety of social situations, but it always stems from the same thing, and it's my kind of fear of people perceiving me in a negative way. That again just hinders me from engaging in conversations, engaging in socialising and wanting to get involved with other people. I usually kind of withdraw, like socially. I'd rather isolate myself, sit on my own, or stay with the people that I know, because I'm like, I can't meet new people in case they don't like me or I show myself up and stuff like that. Like, again, those like emotions that I feel in those moments, because I'm so socially anxious, those emotions just turn against me and they just drown me. They just suck every ounce of, you know, self-belief out. Like, and I believe that I'm not good enough, I will never be good enough, I'm inadequate, that people won't like me, and that they will only see the negative in me. Like, in those moments it's really hard to not be like blindsided by those emotions. I'm just sucked in and I believe them in that moment. I'm like, oh my god. So number 5 is the last one, but again I feel like this could be the one that has possibly had the most negative effect on me throughout my whole entire life, and it is being really like hypersensitive to any form of criticism, literally, like in workplace, in friendships, in school and education, any form of feedback, whether it's constructive criticism, whether it's just literally just like, if you've done that it could have been better. Like, I take that as, that's not good, what you've done is rubbish, you know, you didn't do it right, that's just absolute rubbish, I know you can do it better but you decided to do it wrong. Like, any little bit of feedback I take to heart, and I literally absorb that, and I start feeling shame, guilt, like you're just not working hard enough, you're not reaching your potential, you're just never going to achieve, like what you've said is rubbish, what you're doing is rubbish, like you're just rubbish. Like, any form of criticism, definitely I think personally within friendships and relationships I take to heart more, and in workplace and in education, again it affected me, but I feel like because I want to be liked so much and I want to be everyone's friend, I just want to be liked, basically. I feel like this part really affects me in relationships as well, probably mostly relationships and friendships, because it's just like, I don't want people to think badly of me, I just want to make everyone like me. Yeah, any form of criticism, I'm just super hypersensitive to it, and I find it really hard to move past it, and I get stuck, I withdraw, and I would rather, I'm just like, no, you know, I can't do it, I've hurt everybody, and I just try to, yeah, I don't know, it just honestly causes me to shut down emotionally, mentally, physically. I just withdraw myself, and basically I don't know, I feel like I'm just going to be swallowed up in the ground, because I don't know, I just feel humiliated. So yeah, those are kind of the 5 most common ways that I feel that I am emotionally paralysed. These are just some examples. Definitely please Google it, do your own research, because there might be a better way for others to understand it. You might be thinking, you've made it no clearer. I've tried my best. I hope that you guys can understand and can relate and understand what it is and how it might be affecting you. I don't think it's like a medical term or like a professional term. It's just something I came across once, and I was like, I can see that. I can see where that affects me. So yeah, definitely check it out. There might be other content on YouTube explaining it. But yeah, I definitely think I struggle with it majorly. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I will forever be grateful. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!